Salve governors! I'm the Honey Badger, and in today's guide we're going to talk all about area of effect buildings and how to make the most out of them. Namely, how to lower the maintenance cost of a building, how to lower the workforce need of a building, and hell, while we're at it, how to make a profit in some scenarios, together with how to use production buildings as residences to get extra workforce. Just to set expectations right, in this guide we're going to cover production and public service buildings that offer bonuses to your island, and maintenance fees are calculated for legendary mode. Therefore, if your maintenance is lower, by all means you're gonna get even more profits. Moreover, this is not a trading or a trade route guide. Therefore, all the resources that are needed for the buffs to function properly will be covered in another guide. Firstly, let's get the basics out of the way. Most production and public service buildings have either a path or a circle area effect. Let's take an example. The market has a path area of effect. Therefore, if I'm going to plonk it down over here, as we can see in this pattern, we got 8 by 2. And we got 3 rows of them. Therefore, we have 48 residences affected by the marketplace. However, due to the road area of effect, not all houses will be affected. 8 houses will be completely missing. Therefore, the range of the marketplace, it's a road area effect, and it will cover the shortest possible path between the marketplace and the said building, just as we can see over here. However, if we are to move the marketplace instead to this layout over here, which is a 4x2 on both sides with a road in the middle, basically over here we got 80 houses in total. Out of these 80 houses, currently almost all of them are being populated. Only 12 houses remain without the area of effect of the market. We can increase this entire area of effect by adding paved roads. Paved roads and marble roads currently are completely identical between them. Let me get a bit more concrete. There we go. And let's see by how much it increased. As you can see now, the marketplace area almost covers up until here. So we got a total of 2, 6, 8, almost 9 rows. We're covering almost 144 houses with this layout over here. Therefore, as much as possible, try to build roads in the middle so the area of effect of things will increase. Now, we did discuss about a road area effect. The second type of area of effect is a circle area of effect. The circle area of effect doesn't care at all about the roads. If we're going to plank down over here a spinner, as we can see, we're going to have income +1, knowledge +1, and we're going to affect 77 buildings. This means that we are going to get a bonus of 77 denari per minute and 77 extra knowledge by just having this spinner over here. Now, you are not going to see the effects directly unless you have a warehouse around here in order to deliver the goods to that said spinner. Now the spinner can reach the warehouse and it will go over there to collect the hemp needed, and it will start the production. Currently, as we can see, we got no belief, and the bonuses are only coming from the goods themselves. Let's see what happens once the spinner returns with the goods. As it can be seen now that the spinner got the hemp delivered. Now we have from area of effects and specialists bonus 77 denari that we have spoken. be careful, the road over here from these residences on the bottom half is nowhere near connected to the spinner. Therefore, the circle area of effect doesn't care about the roads. Moreover, be very careful when reading the tooltip of the production buildings. For example, the bakery over here. You got the need attributes. That is the population gain and the income gain if you're going to serve bread to your plebeians or above tiers. Then you got the area of effect, which is income +2 and fire safety -2. These affect all of the buildings. And when I say all of the buildings, I literally mean all of the buildings. For example, the marketplace doesn't affect only residential buildings. It affects all of the buildings you have on the island, as long as it's in range. Over here at the docks, we have some depots, the trading post, and a fishery. If I'm going to place down a market, all of them will be affected equally. If we're going to check over here the active effects of the trading post, we're going to get bonus liberty and denari. Similarly to the fishery, we're going to get bonus liberty and denari. And of course, you guessed it, the depot too. Now, when it comes to deciding what population you are gaining, let's move on to the other island over here. If the building that is working requires plebeian workforce or any other type of workforce, then that bonus workforce is being delivered over here. You still don't realize how powerful this can be? Well, let me show you. I went on this island purposefully. I have placed around here a temple, a forum, and a baths, all of them giving me extra population. Similarly, I have placed a tavern and a marketplace, which also give extra population. Let's analyze really fast this fishery over here. If we're gonna check, the fishery by itself will provide me with fish, and it will require 6 Libertus Workforce and 8 denari per minute in order to function. However, due to the public services buildings I have around here, and due to the manufacturing things that I have around here, like the bakery, the tunics, as it can be seen here, the pileus, we're going to increase the amount of denari and the amount of people we are gaining. So this fishery hut, as bonuses, we're going to get 9 extra people and 10 denari bonus incomes. What does this mean in reality? Well, this fishery not only produces fish, but at the same time, it gives me 3 extra liberty and also 2 extra denari just by literally existing here and producing stuff. I'm going to ignore that the fact that it's also giving me knowledge, belief, prestige, health, happiness, and fire safety. That's an extra bonus that happens due to the production buildings. Now, when it comes to some buildings, they offer both positives and negative things at the same time. Let's take the garum works, for example. The area of effect is happiness -2, but income increases by 1. Over here, I have already 2 garums placed. If I'm going to place yet another garum somewhere around here, let's check what will happen to the city watch over here. Currently, the city watch has the garum minus happiness. So currently we have a total of +4 happiness. If I'm going to put another garum around this area and allow it to get the necessary resources for it to work, let's check what will happen to the city watch. There we go. As we saw, because there's another garum works nearby, the happiness dropped. But sadly, because there's another garum works nearby, the denari income remained exactly the same, because positives do not stack. Each unique positive for each unique building will appear only once. However, when it comes to negatives, the negatives stack. As many negative buildings you have around, as much negative debuffs you're going to get. Therefore, what is recommended is, if you're going to need another garum works, do not place it in an area where a previous garum works already functions. Try to find a separate location where it makes sense. For example, over here. If I'm going to put the garum works over here, I will have 26 extra income and 52 negative happiness, which is awfully similar to over here, because here I would have 30 negative happiness and no extra income. Therefore, try to mix and match the production buildings around your city as much as possible to benefit both from the bonuses and to minimize the amount of negative impact you are having. Now you might be stating, okay, the fishery example that you have presented is a bit too extreme, because you have dedicated a temple, a forum, and a baths nearby your port. In real life, I wouldn't do that, right? Well, it's a mentality issue over here, because it depends of the island layout that you are planning. Here's an example over here of an island layout that benefits a lot of buildings at the same time. For example, over here I have my city area with all of the houses. In this side, right in the middle of this medium island, I have the forum, the temple service, the library, and the baths, all in one single place, all 4 services. Now let's see what happens. Let's take the example of the temple. The temple over here covers almost all of my city, and also it covers almost all of my production area. Similarly, the library covers almost all of my production area and almost all of my city. Now let's take an interesting example over here. The forum itself. The maintenance cost over here is minus 140, but the area of effect adds +2 income and +2 population. Now let's check over here. Let me delete this forum over here and re-put it back. Let's read a bit the tooltip. I'm going to affect 226 buildings by doing this forum over here. This means that I am gaining 452 denari just by building this structure over here. Now subtracting the 140 denari that I have paid for the building, this means that I'm making a profit of 312 denari. And trust me, it does not stop there. Hey, editor me here. I didn't know how to edit this, but look at the population increase. Holy hell. Because once the forum is built and I'm going to allow this to work, we're going to see that the forum also benefits from active effects around the city. For example, the forum is getting +2 extra population of X because it's a tier 3 building due to the nearby market and the nearby tavern that is built. Also, it's getting +3 denari because I have a winery nearby and the market itself. Also, yes, you guessed it, we're gonna get also belief because we have a sanctuary that is in range of this forum. Similarly for prestige, health, happiness, and fire safety. Therefore, stop trying to have the mentality of having dedicated islands for your production buildings. Your dedicated islands should be for the raw resources. Let me give you an example so you understand it properly. On this island over here, it's a cities dedicated island. Therefore, my raw production of wheat is increased by a lot. As we can see over here, due to the boons, we have 190% processing time. This means that over here I can process with a single farm the amount of wheat required for a single grain mill to run at the same time. As you can see, its processing time 31 seconds and the grain mill takes 30 seconds. So a single farm can fully saturate a single grain mill. Moreover, a single farm from over here is fully saturating 2 bakeries. Now, because I don't have any river slots on this island, I am forced to transport the grains to my other islands in order to be transformed into flour. The more correct path would have been if I would have had around here some river slots and processed the flour directly on this island. However, the bakeries, I don't have an over excessive amount of bakeries on this island. As you can see, I have only 2 of them covering as much buildings as possible, 58 with 73 buildings. Similarly, on my other islands, I directly have bakeries placed around my city, for example, one over here and one over here, that covers all of the buildings with extra denari. And also, as I mentioned, I have the grain mills inside my city because I don't have any river slots on this island here. Now, what does this translate to? Well, if I would have built the bakery just on this island, I would have increased my fire safety like crazy. And yes, I would have doubled the amount of bread produced at once because I would have had the cities boom. However, I would have lost a lot of income and gained a lot of fire. Therefore, when it comes to production buildings, it's best if you integrate them directly in your cities. Let's see, over here, for example, in Neptune, we have everything needed in terms of production buildings inside the city itself in the normal limits. For example, the tunics, I have 4 tunics around here to handle the production. And by the way, while we are on the tunics topic, let's see how I handle this. There's absolutely no hemp farm on this island. The reasoning being is that the hemp comes from this island over here, which is dedicated to Minerva. Basically, every single hemp farm that I'm having is producing at 200% capacity. Therefore, every single hemp farm over here can handle 2 spinners at once. So, I am taking the hemp from Minerva Island and delivering to my Neptune Island. This way, I am benefiting for income from all of the buildings affected in this area. If we're going to check just over here at knowledge, we have 295 knowledge coming from the tunics and also 295 denari also coming from the tunics. So try to spread your production buildings as much as possible so you are covering as many buildings as possible. Here's another one, the Pileus. It's also covering some of my residential buildings, but also I have Pileus and spinners at my dockyard over here. I am getting bonuses for Pileus at the dockyard too. 286 denari coming from the Pileus itself. When it comes to the other resources like bread, I have a breadery nearby my port and 2 bread locations inside the city. Therefore, the bread provides 348 extra denari whilst providing with 354 less fire protection. And with Garum you saw the same thing. Sandal makers It's really a no-brainer over here. The only area of effect of sandal makers is +1 income. You should have them everywhere in your city and cover as much buildings as possible without overlapping them. And in case I did not mention, overlapping means the rhombus over here that appears. Now, in case of sandal makers, as we can see, we are receiving a bonus of 126 denari. Same thing happens with the potters and every other production building. Therefore, yet again I repeat myself, try to plan your areas mindfully, trying to capture as much bonuses, as many area of effects possible in order to increase your population and also the amount of income you are getting per minute. And you might be wondering, isn't it wasteful to put production buildings inside cities? Well, let's compare a bit. The spinner over here provides denari and knowledge. We're going to analyze this from 2 points of view. Firstly, denari income, and secondly, population income. Let's start with the denari income. Within this spinner over here, if I would delete it and place a housing instead, I would fit only a single housing. So we are losing the population worth and the denari worth of a single residence. Let's check around here. A single residence, a Liberty residence, offers us 9 total people, of which 4 of them are from bonuses from Baths and Forum, and only 5 are from the actual Libertus residence, and 16 denaries, which of course only 5 of them are from Libertus residence. So in total we would lose 5 denari and 5 Liberty people. Also, let's assume that you are upgrading the Libertus residence to Patrician residence. How much money would you lose in that case? Well, you would lose a total of 28.3 denari from the Patrician residence itself, albeit it's not fully satisfied yet, but it's just a bare bones example, and you would lose 20 Patricians as a population. Moving back to denari a bit, this spinner over here, if I were to delete it and replace it back, let's see how many buildings we are affecting. We are affecting 66 buildings. So we're getting 66 extra income and on top of it, 66 extra knowledge. Now, how much money are we losing? Well, you would have gained only 5 denari if you had a Libertus residence, or 28 denari if you would have had a Patrician residence. Instead, you are getting 66 extra denari. And let's not forget that the active effects surrounding the spinner is also increased. So these are all of the buffs that will affect the said spinner. Currently it's not working and that's why the effects are not visible. But let's take an example, another spinner that is working, this one. You would have gained 4 extra workers, 8 minus 4, so instead of gaining 5 workers from a Libertus residence, you're getting only 4. So you're losing only 1 worker, and you get all of the money from the surrounding buildings. Similarly, for Patricians, they have oysters. Oysters give population. Let's move to population right now. If I would have this active effect over here, the Epicure of Water, I am gaining 1 population per building. This means that I am affecting a total of 113 buildings around this location. So I'm getting 113 extra workers in total. As we can see, once I put down the oyster over here, I do have 0 Libertus. But once they get the necessary resources, and now that we got the necessary resources, we get extra Libertus Workforce from the Epicure of Water because it covers so many buildings. Again, the reasoning we didn't get more Libertus is because it's only affecting these Libertus workforces and these X over here together with these plebeians. So we saw an increase across the whole population just by having a single production building in the middle of the city. Well, I hope with this example it kind of explains everything you need to know about the area of effects production buildings. And to be honest, that's kind of all I had to present in this guide. Yes, it was a very short guide. Let me know down in the comments if you learned something new or you already knew this thing in Anno 117. Sometimes the guides that are brought out of context are not as helpful as real experience. As we noticed over here, I went crazy and built a forum, temple and baths dedicated for my port. But you couldn't understand why I did this from the beginning. And that's why sometimes you need to watch some Let's Play videos. Basically, I do have a legendary difficulty run. I will have the playlist by the end of the video where I'm showing and explaining at the same time my thought process of building a city, surviving and capturing all of the islands, and in the end, why not, let's fight the Emperor. If you're interested to see such a series, please do check the playlist at the end of the video. Also, please do leave a like. Comment down below whatever you like, because this helps with YouTube's algorithm and increases the video's visibility, allowing to reach more governors in need. And hey, while you're at it, you might as well subscribe, because this is only the second guide that we have until now. More guides will come explaining more obscure tactics and strategies for Anno 117. And also, the last thing I want to say is thank you for my wonderful members that are not only supporting the channel, but also getting early access to my Let's Play videos. Well, until next time, I've been the Honey Badger, and until the next guide, I'm out.